Hi, this is Amrita from BizAsiaLive.com, and I have the delight of sitting with an actor, a director, a producer, dialogue writer, singer. Can I add any more hats? Mr. Farhan Akhtar. How are you, Farhan?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's lovely to have you in London. And we've been listening into your single for the last few days, which is recently released, Rearview Mirror. I've got to ask you, what was the inspiration behind the single?
The song actually on the album, it's an album called Echoes that'll be out in January. And the song Rearview Mirror is a part of many other songs which really reflect the last about 2.5 years of my life. There have been many changes that have happened in my personal life, and somehow I felt the need to express what was going on inside of me. So this is really one of those songs.
Okay, so as you've just said, you describe it as an outlet almost of the emotions. So when you begun writing the song or the album, where did you go first? Did you go to the feelings and bring out the words, or the compositions?
Most of my life, and this is even with any writing work that I've done, I've always found it easier to express myself through writing than I have through sitting down and maybe communicating through talking with someone. So following that similar process, these emotions of in this song, I mean, predominantly is dealing with guilt, is dealing with having to move on, having made certain decisions, feeling those decisions were right at the time. And it's really about that. So I've always found it very simple to be able to write down what I'm feeling. And the reason, one is writing it down, which I have over the years, not just the last 2 years or 3 years. All my life I've been writing things down. I really did feel with this that it would be nice to share it with the world. Because for one, I feel that these emotions are emotions that many people have gone through, are going through, probably will go through. And somehow you always feel that it's happening only to me, and I'm the only one dealing with this. And I think music can be very healing in that kind of way. That's one of the greatest qualities of it, is that you always, when you hear a song, you connect to it because there's something about that song that person is feeling who's written it that kind of resonates within you. And you realize that you're not the only person who feels that way. And I've for that reason in particular, I really felt that this now would be a nice time to start sharing this music and this writing.
So I would say that when I kind of look at your writing and how you've kind of expressed yourself over the years, I would think that's kind of instilled because your father is obviously a very good writer, lyricist, etc. So in that kind of way, I didn't expect your single to be in English. So why did you make that decision? Why was it in English?
I think that's really a matter of the kind of schooling that he had and the kind of schooling I think that I had. For him, Urdu and Hindi is his first language. For me, because I studied in English, I was taught every single thing, a language apart from Hindi in English. It really becomes, it emerges as your thinking language. So for me, when I'm writing for myself, it's always easier to write and express myself in English. Most of the books that I grew up reading were English books. My largest Hindi influence really was movies and speaking to my dad, because he made it a point that he speak to Zoya and me in Hindi or in Urdu. But apart from that, it really is the language that I find myself most accessible to me to be able to express myself in.
Okay. And I would say currently, especially Bollywood-wise, you are known for your rock style. And I think that comes through in your single. But in terms of the whole album, will it all of them be kind of rock style and in English?
There's from rock style. There's a song that has a bit of swing to it. There is a song that is kind of bossa nova style. Then there are songs which are very acoustic, very naked. It's more or less just a guitar and voice. And then there are some which is like the whole shebang, with funk and horns playing at the back and stuff. So it really has many different forms of expression in it. But it falls, if you have to really, really categorize it, it is kind of alternate rock, meet a slight folksy acoustic vibe, is singer-songwriter vibe. which is what the album would be, I think.
Okay. And out of the album, obviously I'm not sure how many songs there are, but why did you choose Rearview Mirror as your first?
There's 11 songs on the album. And I mean, the Rearview Mirror song is not really just, it's not predominantly just my choice. You know, there's people who've listened to the album who've recommended that we go with this song first. I'm happy to share all the music at one time, you know, if I had my way. But I believe there are people who know the business of it way better than me. There's also people who have come and listened to the song. And I just think given what is playing on radio now, they feel that this is a nice place to start. And that's really, so I've just gone with people who have a slightly better professional judgment, you know, of it. But I'm just waiting for 25th of January where people can listen to the whole album.
We're looking forward to it. So I've got to say that obviously you've mentioned that your album you've been writing, I think, for about 2 years. I would say?
About 2.5 years. Yes.
Okay. So in that 2 years, you've said that this is kind of a amalgamation of all your emotions. But did you ever want to release an album like this as an independent, almost artist?
You know, I never really thought about it till I started writing this stuff. I mean, I have done a few singles in Hindi. We did a song called, very early on, called Tension Kyun Lete Ho Yaar, which was about maybe 5-6 years ago. Then we did a song which was for the Mard initiative called Chule Asman, which was about women empowerment, girl empowerment. So there have been like kind of little, almost if you want to call it for the lack of it, like a little flirtation with wanting to do it, you know, and wanting to write songs and put them out. But I never took it as seriously as I did when I started writing this. There was something within me that really was very, very vociferously telling me, you know, that this needs to be compiled, this needs to be put out. And I just didn't want to fight it, so I just said I'd go ahead and do it.
And in keeping with the single, I have to ask, when you look at the rearview mirror, not in your emotions, but in terms of your musical journey, what are you most grateful for?
I think to start with, just having, if you want, there's one thing of musical journey of listening, and there is one thing which is a musical journey of, I guess, performance and being an artist. So for as just somebody who's an audience and who listens to music, I think I'm most thankful to my mother for her immense record collection at home, you know, and for someone who just very wasn't how do you call it, possessive about it at all, because kids can scratch records and kids can mess around with stereo systems, you know, and spoil things, and it wasn't cheap back then to either buy it or to fix it. So I'm really thankful that she allowed Zoya and me access to all this material that she had lying at home. That really like infused the love of music in me from a very, very young age. And as a creator, I think is having met the right people at the right time. You know, my love for guitar was there from a very young age when I was a huge fan, still am, of the Beatles. And I wanted to play guitar. And somehow I was very shy about saying that that's what I wanted. But then I met like friends who were in bands and they could see that I love playing guitar. So, you know, they would give me chord sheets to like follow. So just from that basic start, you know, to having met people like Sarosh, who's been in the band with me for the last 5.5 years, who's really, through him, I felt very empowered as a performer on stage. He's like an anchor point for me, you know, when I'm on stage, and has always been very supportive of the songwriting in the last 2.5 years. If I've ever wanted to discuss, you know, like bridge parts with him or anything with him, he's like, yeah, I'll come over and meet you. So he's been amazing. And then, of course, there's Anurag, you know, from Canvas Talent, who's kind of put this entire thing together, got me in touch with all the right people to put this album together. So I do feel very fortunate on that level, yeah.